Can you press 7 if you can hear me loudly and clearly? 4:30 p.m. on a Monday afternoon down in a cold, dark and dreary United Kingdom. I should be spending my time doing the day job. I should be spending my time finishing a very important project. Instead, I'm wasting my time on yet another British boxing clown show. Apologies are in order this afternoon, all right? Everybody needs to apologize. First of all, I want some apologies because I reported on this fight 2 days ago, and you all told me in the chat that this was fake news, that this fight wouldn't happen, that Anthony Joshua would never do such a thing. AJ's serious about British boxing, Ultra. He ain't going to fight Jake Paul. Why would he fight Jake Paul? He's serious about British boxing, Ultra. This fight's not going to happen. Trust me, they're going to call it off. Told you 2 days ago. Mike Coppinger reported that because he's got a direct line to Turki Al-Sheikh. Listen, as soon as Mike Coppinger was the one to break that news, you knew the fight was done and dusted because Mike Coppinger is Ring Magazine, which is owned by Turki Al-Sheikh. So Mike obviously was tipped off that the fight was done and dusted. So this fight, first and foremost, has been signed for a week. Don't believe the bullshit, yeah? Don't believe the bullshit that you've been hearing the last couple of days. Liars. Too much liars in the sport of boxing. Eddie Hearn, talk about you in a second. Too much liars in the sport of boxing. Oh, we're not there yet. Oh, Copper just jumped the gun. Oh, we're not close to a deal. Oh, AJ could be fighting anybody. The fight's been done for a fucking week. Mike Coppinger, to his credit, and I do not like Mike Coppinger, yeah? Mike Coppinger has not twitched his asshole 1 millimeter on this story, by the way. People flapping asses all over the place. Is it true? Is it not true? Coppinger for the last week straight. The fight is done, dusted, and signed. It's been signed for a week. So first and foremost, shout out to all of those people who told me that this fight was never going to happen. Point two, shout out to all those people who slagged off Mike Coppinger and said he was spreading fake news. This fight's been signed for a week. This fight just ain't been signed today. And now, yeah, what I want to hear now, all right, all of them arse riders who came for Tyson Fury, all right, and said that Tyson Fury was a disgrace for fighting Francis Ngannou, you need to come out, yeah, and show your face ASAP. You know who you are. All them channels out there who said that Fury versus Ngannou was a disgrace to boxing. Press 1 if you remember that one. Do you remember when Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou was a disgrace to boxing? It was the end of boxing as we knew it. So if Fury and Ngannou was a disgrace, then what the fuck do you make this then? Judgment Day. All right? Judgment Day. Look at this shit. December, exactly as Mike Coppinger called it, by the way. Exactly as Mike Coppinger called it. December the 19th. So AJ's got 4.5 weeks to get ready for this fight. It's a real fight. It's exactly as Coppinger called it. It's a real fight. It's not an exhibition. Yeah. 8 3-minute rounds. Anthony Joshua can't weigh any more than 245 pounds, which for AJ won't be a problem because I think he came in less than that for the Usyk fights. Am I right or am I wrong, guys? He came in less than that for some of the Usyk fights. Pretty sure he came in for one of the Usyk fights like 239. So I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear no excuses from the Anthony Joshua Mandingo BBC worshippers, okay, about, oh, he's not ready, 245. I've already seen Dave Coldwell online making excuses about this fight. Oh, AJ's got to weigh 245. He weighed under 245 for Usyk. I'm pretty sure for at least one of them fights, he was 240. He was 239. Maybe it was the first one. So look, he's made that kind of weight before. So I don't want to hear any fucking excuses about the weight. It's 8 3-minute rounds. Again, that suits Anthony Joshua because we all know that Anthony Joshua is a gasser after 5 and 6 rounds. Anybody who stays in the ring with Anthony Joshua more than 6 rounds, you've always got a slight chance to catch up with him and get him because he's one of the biggest gassers in boxing. So the 8 rounds is an advantage to Anthony Joshua. The weight is fine for Anthony Joshua because he's done 245 before, so I don't want to hear no excuses. The only thing is he's got 4 weeks to get ready. So let's just start with this, right? We've got a lot to get through, and this is going to be the start of multiple shows, all right? So if you're at work, which you should be, all right, unless you're one of those benefit fraudsters, all right, and you can't get to the show, there will be subsequent shows coming, possibly as early as this evening. I'm just waiting to hear. I'm just checking my inbox right now, and I believe Ryan is going to come on tonight, potentially. I'm just asking him now. Just give me a sec, yeah? I've got an inbox. Also, guys, sorry, Mickey Helliott as well. All right? So there you go. I'm just doing it now. I'm just setting it up now. So I'm just asking Ryan if he wants to do tonight. I'm waiting for the answer on that. I'm waiting for Mickey Helliott. So like I said before, we are going to get people. I've seen Mike Coppinger, who's just liked my tweet, by the way. So I'll show you the tweet. Listen. I can't stand Mike Coppinger. You have to understand that, yeah? I cannot stand Mike Coppinger. But Mike Coppinger, you see this one like on this tweet? Here. This is Mike Coppinger liking my tweet. Put respect on Coppinger's name. They lied for a week when they said it was all signed, when it was all signed and done. So there you go. Shout out to Eddie Hearn, the biggest fucking liar in boxing. Do you know what, yeah? I'm not going to talk about Conor Benn and Chris Eubank yet in this show because, honestly, if I talk about my real feelings about Conor Benn, honestly, I will get death threats sent to me if I give you my real thoughts on Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn, failed drugs tests and disgraces to boxing. So I'm not going to give you my exact thoughts on Conor Benn yet. I saw somebody as well, just to quickly say, I saw the British boxing media. I think it was Sauerland did a tribute to Frank Smith. Can you fucking believe it? Sauerland did a tribute to Frank Smith for all his hard work on Eubank and Benn. This is the guy who found out that his brother-in-law was about to get in the ring with a fucking 2-time test fail in Conor Benn and didn't tell him. Anyway, the less said about that, the better. Sean OGU is saying judgment has been misspelled on the. So Matchroom are getting into a bit of problem with this because it looks like Matchroom have misspelled the word judgment on the poster, but I am reliably informed that in America, you don't put the E in Judgment Day. There you go. So there you go. So the fight is on. Let's have a look at what previous people, all right, said about similar types of fights. If you just bear with me for uno momento, I just want to share something, all right? And I just want to see if this works. Can you do me a favor, please? Can you press 7 if you can hear this? This is Eddie Hearn on Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou.
Tyson Fury's not interested really in undisputed and legacy.
Actually, hold on. Let me just make sure I've done that properly again. Could you hear that the first time or not? Hold on. Let me just make sure. Yeah, no, that should have been fine. Yeah, was it okay? Let's do it again. Yeah, 7. Okay, let's just do that again. This is Eddie Hearn on Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou.
See, he wants to go out and make a load of. Tyson Fury's not interested really in undisputed and legacy. He wants to go out and make a load of money. So he's fighting a guy that could fight 1,000,000 times and not lose. And he's probably going to make 30 or 40 million quid in the process. Good luck to him. It's disappointing for boxing, but I get it. Tyson Fury.
Well, there you go. Yeah? So we've already come with the receipts, yeah? This man is an absolute hair transplant having clown of the highest order. Still waiting to see this man's medical card. Claims to be an amateur boxer for Bidderay Boxing Club, but no one's ever seen this man's a medical card for England boxing. You fucking liar. That fight's been signed for a whole week. This dickhead was going on IFL TV. Cougs. Certain people have jumped the gun. Oh, there's a lot of hurdles to jump. There's a lot to get through. Oh, could happen, might not. Listen, we don't know. Fucking fight was signed the whole time. When are you guys going to stop drinking this guy's fucking bullshit, man? When are you guys going to stop drinking this guy's BS? Anyway, I want to play it one more time. So when Tyson Fury fought Francis Ngannou, it was bad for boxing, yeah? Because he was fighting somebody that he would beat, right, 1,000,000 times if they fought 1,000,000 times. So what the fuck does that make this fight then, Eddie Hearn?
Fury's not interested really in undisputed and legacy. He wants to go out and make a load of money. So he's fighting a guy that could fight 1,000,000 times and not lose. And he's probably going to make 30 or 40 million quid in the process. Good luck to him. It's disappointing for boxing, but I get it.
There you go. So, like I said before, that's classic Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, isn't it? At their fucking finest, isn't it? That's what they are, isn't it? It's one rule for them, and it's one rule for everybody else. When Tyson Fury was fighting clowns, yeah? When Tyson Fury was fighting clowns to make a load of money, remember, it was bad for the sport. You've heard it. When you fight someone that you're going to beat 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 times, it's bad for the sport. It's bad for the sport of boxing. So I'm looking forward now to hearing the spin, yeah? From all those BBC worshippers. You know who you are, sitting there watching Lex the Impaler. You know who you are. Yeah, all you BBC worshippers, I want to hear from you guys now about how, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou was a disgrace to boxing, but Anthony Joshua fighting fucking Jake Paul. He's fighting dudes off the fucking Disney Channel. Press 1 if you agree with me on that, or press 2 if I'm wrong. This guy is an Olympic fucking gold medalist, yeah? The guy's an Olympic gold medalist who's fighting guys who fucking started on the Disney Channel. So I want to hear about that. End of fucking story. I want to hear what you've got to say about that. So there you go. This fight's on. It's a legitimate fight. It's a real fight. Now, let's talk about why I think this is stupid matchmaking. I personally think, that this is the dumbest fight. I think of the year is this might be the dumbest fight of the last 10 years, right? Oh my gosh, look at this comment. Sorry. Working class patriot. This is nuts. Jake lost to Tommy Fury. I forgot about that. I completely forgot, Anthony Joshua literally is fighting Tommy Fury's leftovers. Just put that into perspective. How do you go from Olympic gold medalist and former unified champion of the world? You just fought in Wembley Stadium for a world title. Best part of 12 months ago. How the fuck do you go from that to fighting Tommy Fury's leftovers? Because let's be honest with you, yeah? Tommy Fury is, to this day, right? I'm trying to think of legitimate boxers that Jake Paul has boxed, right? Legitimate boxers. Because we know Jake, I think Jake Paul is a good boxer. I think he's the best influencer boxer out there, pound for pound, right? I've said that 1,000,000 times, right? It's him or Darren Till, right? And Darren Till's not really an influencer. So I think Jake Paul's probably the best influencer boxer, right? But if you look at all the fighters that Jake Paul's fought, he hasn't really fought any real boxers. Am I right in that? Like, Tommy Fury was the first actual non-50-year-old, non-geriatric, non-in a nursing home, actual boxer that he fought. And he lost that fight. And for me, I thought Jake Paul lost that fight clearly. And as well, to be honest with you, I thought that if that fight with Tommy Fury goes on a couple more rounds, I think Tommy Fury would have stopped him. That's my opinion. I think if you go back and watch the fight, right? Because the knockdown was a slip from Fury, right? It was a slip off a punch, but it was caught off balance, yeah? Tommy Fury was never hurt in that fight. If you look after that knockdown, when Tommy Fury put it on him towards the end of the fight, that last round, Jake Paul, in my opinion, if that had gone on for a couple more rounds, he would have got stopped by Tommy Fury. He'd have got stopped. And I agree with what Avalar's saying. I thought Tommy Fury struggled more with KSI, which is proof that styles make fights. For me, Tommy Fury struggled more with KSI than he did with Jake Paul. So how the fuck does this guy get a fight with Anthony Joshua? Now let's listen to Dave Allen. Dave Allen at the minute is on my shit list. Okay, Dave Allen at the minute is on my shit list for saying not very nice things about Daniel Dubois. Having said that, right, Dave Allen, believe it or not, does talk sense occasionally. And he has been talking sense about this fight here. I've just realized I'm not sure if you guys will actually be able to hear this if I share it. So I have to now figure out a way to figure this out. Just give me a second while I try to cue this up so you can watch it. But I'll read it out here. This is why this is not a good fight for Anthony Joshua. Oh my God, who's this dude? This dude's trying to... Tommy was gassed at the end too. Oh, that makes it all right then for AJ to fight him because Tommy Fury was gassed at the end too. It's all right then for Tommy Fury to go and fight for AJ, Olympic gold medalist. They were saying this guy was better than Lennox Lewis 10 years ago. Guys in the chat, am I right or am I wrong? Did Muppets not say 10 years ago AJ could beat Lennox Lewis? How do you go from that to fighting Tommy Fury off Disney Channel? Anyway, Dave Allen correctly says, this is the reason why this matchmaking is an absolute potential disaster. All right? Disaster. He says, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on Anthony Joshua, it diminishes everything that he's ever achieved. Absolutely 100% bang on the money. I'm going to play the video, even though you can't hear the sound. But this is bang on the money. The only person that's got anything to lose in this fight, other than money, is Anthony Joshua. That's the reality of it, isn't it? Like, if Jake Paul lands a clean shot on Anthony Joshua, am I right or am I wrong? That's going to be memed, and that's going to be held against Anthony Joshua for the rest of his fucking career. Press 1 if you agree with me. Press 2 if you disagree with me. Trust me, Jake Paul lands one clean shot on Anthony Joshua, that's going to be memed and held against Anthony Joshua for the rest of his career. Winning the fight, he's going to get absolutely zero credit, right? Zero credit. If he wins the fight by first round knockout with the first punch of the fight, he will get zero credit, Anthony Joshua. Like, other than financial gain, he stands to make absolutely nothing from this fight. This fight does absolutely nothing for his boxing career, other than it's going to increase his bank balance. And listen, like I said before, it may increase. There'll be so many eyes watching this on Netflix. So again, yes, it may increase his popularity, future pay-per-views. He may get more fans, that kind of thing. So there is that. But for the most part, right, this does absolutely nothing for Anthony Joshua's boxing career. It does nothing. He's got to go in there and he's got to be perfect for every second of every round. Because if he loses a round, if he loses 10 seconds of a round, if he loses a minute of a round, it's going to be absolutely hell to pay for his career. Michael Thompson says, one thing getting KO'd by DDD, by Daniel Dubois, really can't afford the same thing to happen again from Jake. Now, let me just say one thing, right? No one seems to be mentioning the amount of time that Anthony Joshua has to prepare for this fight. Now, nobody has even seen the state of Anthony Joshua in the last couple of weeks. Are we right or wrong? I checked his Instagram the other day. When was the last time Anthony Joshua did a recent post on Instagram? A recent post. I'm not talking about promotions that the photographs were done months ago and he's now putting them on Instagram. Does that make sense? Has anybody seen an actual recent photo of Anthony Joshua? Because there's been all kinds of rumors going on about the reason why Anthony Joshua cannot fight in the UK. All right. A lot of people believe that Anthony Joshua is in some form of trouble. All right. Now, the trouble's got nothing to do with doping. All right. It's got nothing to do with doping or anything like that. But there's rumors going around that AJ has found himself in a bit of trouble because he's been living the street life. So apparently he can't show his face in the United Kingdom, which has got something to do with why this fight is where it is. Now, we'll find out very soon, all right? But as people are saying in the chat, you probably ain't going to see Anthony Joshua in the UK to do a presser or see Anthony Joshua in the UK for quite a while. As far as I understand, he's in Dubai, yeah? And he's got no plans to come back to the UK anytime soon. Now, look, I'm not going to give any more of those rumors credence, right? But here's the point I'm trying to make. Has anybody seen any actual recent pictures of Anthony Joshua so we can see the state and the condition that he's in? Because listen to this, and I'm not saying Jake Paul's going to win the fight, but I need to tell you a few things about this fight. One is that Jake Paul's been in camp, yeah, for weeks and weeks because he's been preparing for Gervonta Davis. He's now got extra time to be in camp. Press 7 if you agree with me on that. Press 8 if you disagree with me on that, right? Press 7 if you agree with me that this is a factor in the fight, or press 8 if you disagree with me that this is not a factor in the fight. Jake Paul's been in camp for a while because he's been preparing for Gervonta Davis. He's now got extra time to be in camp. Anthony Joshua has 4 weeks to get ready. 4 weeks. 4 weeks. There's a reason, in my opinion, why the date is December the 19th. That's my opinion. There's a reason why the date is December the 19th. I think, yeah, like I said before, I could be wrong. Jake Paul is an absolute lunatic, right? We know that. The guy's like, he's delusional. We know Jake Paul's delusional, but there is a bit of method to his madness there in the matchmaking. Do you guys think that's enough time? Remember what I'm saying here. Jake Paul hasn't got to win this fight. Jake Paul's just got to look good in this fight for 5 seconds. Do you guys get that or not? Let me know. I'll start reading your comments out in a second, and we'll go through all your comments. But do you understand here? Jake Paul's going into this fight with... Do you know what the most ironic thing is about this fight? This is going to be the first fight of Jake Paul's career, yeah, where he's actually under 0 pressure. Do you understand? I'm not saying he's going to win the fight, but do you understand, right, what I'm talking about? He's going to be under 0 pressure for the first time in his career. Every fight in his career, people have been watching to see him get knocked out, all right? And they've been watching to see... He's been the one that... The expectations for him in this fight are less than 0. Less than 0. So... there's going to be that. He's got that as an advantage, in my opinion. The amount of time he's had to train and do you know what? Cough, 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 cough. Somebody in the chat mentioned things about drug testing. Someone in the chat said, will there be drug testing for this fight? Well, it's too fucking late anyway, because Jake Paul's been in camp for fucking weeks and weeks anyway. So what's the fucking point in drug testing it now? This is what I'm saying. If you understand boxing, if you've been in the gym and you understand how these things work, right? You just laugh at this stuff. You laugh at this stuff. What the fucking... There's no point in testing it now anyway. Probably piss. He probably right now he's probably pissing avian. That's why whenever you talk about testing, yeah, right? Let me tell you something quickly. Unless the fighter is taking random 24/7, 365 testing, it doesn't count. Do you guys understand that? Yeah. All these dumbass boxers that are going on social media, all right, taking like a prearranged VADA test, yeah, like. They know roughly when they're going to get tested. They know they're going to be fighting in 6 weeks. So they know they're going to get tested once or twice by VADA within that 6-week period. Listen, you have to be a fucking idiot to fail that. Do you not get that? You have to be a fucking idiot. Where the problem comes, and this is what the fighters will not sign up to, is the random 24/7, 365 blood and urine. Then, once that comes into play, fighters won't do it. That's when you'll start seeing differences in the performances. When you start doing the 24/7, 365. But if you're only doing VADA test for a fucking 6-week window, because you know the fight's going to be in 6 weeks, you know you're going to get tested within that 6 weeks, then you just got to, you know, dot your I's and cross your T's, innit? So I hope that answers your question, Ari, how much drug testing there's going to be for this fight. I'm not making any accusations towards anybody. I'm just telling you at this point, with this fight taking place in 4 weeks' time, drug testing is irrelevant. Press 7 if you agree with me on that. Press 8. I'm not an expert, but that's my opinion. Any drug testing now is fucking pointless. 4 weeks away. If Jake Paul's fucking loading up 4 weeks out, yeah, on the hard stuff, then he's a complete fucking idiot. He's a complete fucking moron. Hopefully, he's done all that stuff, all right, and got it out of his system weeks and weeks ago because he's already been in prep. I agree with you, Michael Thompson. Ain't no fucking way this is being drug tested. Mark H says drug testing in professional sport is a farce. Nobody wants to catch these two. All the promoters and Turkey Alashek and everybody involved is sitting there licking their lips on this fight. $100 million for an easy night's work. The last thing they want to do is start testing people. This is all about a Christmas pay packet, mate. Have you ever seen the film Goodfellas? You ever seen the film Goodfellas? Yeah, where they rob the bank. They do that big robbery. They rob the bank, and Jimmy Conway gives them all a little taste of the money during Christmas. And he gives out a little bit of the money to his crew during Christmas, and they all start turning up on Christmas Day wearing mink coats and smoking cigars and all that kind of thing. That's what it's going to be like on Christmas Day in a fucking Matchroom household. Fucking Barry Hearn is going to be walking around the Christmas tree in a fucking mink coat with a fucking cigar in his mouth. Thanks, Jake Paul, for the fucking Christmas money. Last thing these guys want to do is fucking start testing people. Anyway, it's a bad fight. It's a bad fight for Anthony Joshua. And to me, like I said before, it signifies the complete downfall of this man's career. And it makes me question just where he's at in his head. I mean, I've said it before, right? Anthony Joshua's biggest problem is the fact that he's absolutely deluded, right? It's just, I'm sorry to say this, but this is the truth. Anthony Joshua, whether you like him or not, yeah, is absolutely deluded. Like, he doesn't know who he wants to be outside of the ring, and he doesn't know who he wants to be inside of the ring. And this is Anthony Joshua's biggest. I'm trying to find the whole meme of Anthony Joshua and Usyk. You know, the one where he goes his little meltdown. I'm trying to find that and get that up on the screen. But the problem with Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua doesn't know who he wants to be outside of the ring, and he doesn't know who he wants to be inside of the ring. So I'll explain it one more time. This guy is a multi-millionaire, right? Anthony Joshua is a multi-millionaire, but he thinks he needs to be living the street life. Am I wrong about that, or am I right about that? All right? I'll let you decide. I'm back on StreamYard today, so I've got the old, I've got the memes back, haven't I? Look.
Because I'm coming for them belts, boy. You're going to see the raft of the new champ. Different energy, different spirit. Coming to win. I tried to learn boxing, stick and move. Isolating the sweet science of the sport, doctrinating my style. But we're going back to the raw, rugged streets. That's where I belong. I never followed no athletes growing up, no movie stars. I followed the hustlers, the Rayful Edmonds, the Jeff Ports, the Nicky Barnes, the Big Meaches, the Larry Hoovers. You understand me? They're the people that gave me the inspiration, the ones that came up from the streets to the top of the world, the empires, the bangers, the hustlers.
There you go. What, you think it's a fucking joke? Big AJ, look, you'll see AJ rolling look at this stuff this guy does on social media. This guy's a multi-millionaire rolling fucking, he's rolling a spliff out of a fajita.
Okay.
Who fucking does that? I'm asking you, like, who fucking does that on social media? Who sits on social media eating a fucking fajita and thinks, I'm gonna roll it like a spliff? Who does that? This is what I'm saying. Like, I've been telling you guys for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And I've been right from the beginning to the end. Like, this guy is absolutely out there. Like, his brains are absolutely fried. Fried. He doesn't know who he is. Am I a multi-millionaire? Or am I a street thug? Am I a boxer? Or am I a brawler? Am I a boxer puncher? Or am I a bully? Am I a counter puncher? Or am I an on-top fighter? Who's training me? Is it going to be Robert Garcia or Angel Fernandez? Or is it going to be both at the same time? Or is it going to be Ben Davison? Or is it going to be Tony Sims? Or is it going to be Peter Sims? Or is it going to be my old amateur coach, Sean, from Finchley ABC? Or Or do I listen to Tony Bellew, Spencer Oliver, Clifton Mitchell, and fucking all these people in my group chat? Right? He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know if he's coming. He doesn't know if he's going. Right? This is his problem. And the problem is as well, and I've said it a million times before, all right, that all he's got around him is enablers. He's got people around him. This guy makes some horrendous decisions, right? He makes some absolutely horrendous decisions. But because he's got enablers around him, because he's got nothing but yes men around him who are using him for money, all right? Who are using him for money. People like this dude here. Let's be honest. I've got all the names today. What about this dude? We've got Mr. Drug Testing Extraordinaire here.
I don't need to save money. I want to put on good fights. So that was a good fight for the zone. So I'm disappointed. But what is the point in signing up for drug testing if when...
For some reason, the browser failed to pull that. Let's see if it pulls this one.
On the night. Secondly, I could have done this fight in many different places around the world. You can't do it. You know, you've seen the feedback. You've seen the response. He has to clear his name or he has to have his case heard. So what we are not going to do, and what we won't accept anyway, is just to go and get another license and put this fight on in December. No. Let's have the process, go through the legal process of Conor Benn, and then we see what the result is.
There you go. There's his promoter. Conor Benn needs to go through the full legal process, the full process. What actually happened was Eddie Hearn and Conor Benn snuck off to America and had a series of fights down there to get away from the provisional suspension by UKAD and the British Boxing Board of Control. So these are the kind of people that are advising Anthony Joshua, and they just enable bad decision after bad decision. What do you guys think in the chat about what I'm saying? Do you think it's a press one if you agree with me, press two if you disagree? For me, you've got a bunch of idiots running the show, a bunch of fucking clowns running the show, and AJ is signing up for all these bad decisions. And all these leeches are saying, yeah, that's a good idea. For me, it's a shocker. It's an absolute shocker. And like I said before, I understand in a minute, and I could be wrong, that he's now training with Usyk's team. Have you heard this? Have you guys heard this now? That Anthony Joshua is actually training in the same camp as Alexander Usyk. So he's now been training with Team Usyk. So the Ben Davison experiment, right, that he's been doing, apparently now looks like it's going to be coming to an end. It now looks like he's going to be training going forward with Team Usyk, which is just classic Anthony Joshua. Don't you think that? To me, that is classic Anthony Joshua. Like, who would fucking do that? But that's what he does. That's what this guy does. You know, he comes in with the wrong mentality, comes in with the wrong game plan, gets beat in a fight, blames the coach. I've lost count of how many coaches this man's had, by the way. I'm trying to think of another top UK heavyweight who has had as many coaches as he has. I mean, he's like that every single fight. Am I wrong? Guys, Anthony Joshua is now changing coach. Every single fight. Again, people can slag off Tyson Fury all they want. When Tyson Fury lost them times to Usyk, did he blame his trainer? No, he didn't. He kept the same trainer. Am I right? Am I wrong about that? Just said, look, it's a boxing thing. It's not the trainer's fault. It's my fault. I go in there. I implement the game plan. I failed to implement the game plan. Well, actually, Tyson Fury thinks he won the fights, but he didn't throw his coaches under the bus, did he? He didn't throw his coaches under the bus. How many fucking coaches has AJ now thrown under the bus now? I've lost count how many. He threw Robert Garcia under the bus. He threw fucking... What he did to Rob McCracken was a disgrace. Press one if you agree with me. What AJ did to Rob McCracken. That's a fucking disgrace what he did to Rob McCracken. And we said at the time, there's nothing wrong with Rob McCracken's coaching. We said at the time, there's nothing wrong with Robert McCracken's coaching. But all you guys are telling me, no, AJ needs a new coach. He needs Eddie Reynoso. He needs all these American coaches. He needs this and that. The problem is in between the ears, man. It's simple. The problem with Anthony Joshua is between the ears. No coach can fix the problem between his ears. His problem is his mentality and his personality. He's a bully. All right, that's the reality of Anthony Joshua. He's an incredibly gifted athlete. I like him. I like him as a boxer. He's a very, very gifted boxer, but he's a bully. And he will always be a bully in terms of he is an on-top fighter. When things go well for him in the ring and he's hammering the opponent and there's no give and take, he loves it. As soon as the opponent starts firing back, starts hitting him back, as soon as he's matched with an opponent who he can't intimidate outside of the ring. As soon as he's matched with an opponent like Daniel Dubois, will always be a bad matchup for Anthony Joshua. Do you understand that? Do you know what that is? Because Daniel Dubois has already done him in sparring anyway. Right? So Daniel Dubois already knows he has the power to flatten Anthony Joshua before he even goes in there. Because he already done him in sparring. But if you look at the way Dubois fights, he hunts AJ down. AJ can't fight them type of fights. Exactly, hit and don't get hit, son. He can only be the hammer, not the nail. People need to accept that about Anthony Joshua. Just the way it is, doesn't mean he's a bad person. It just is what it is. Like, he's an on-top fighter. When someone like Daniel Dubois sets about him, puts it about him, gets on the front foot, you see how AJ resorts. AJ starts moving back in lines, leaning back with his chin in the air, and taking massive jumps back to the ropes. When you're doing those kind of things in a boxing ring, you can't counterpunch effectively. If someone's pushing you, if someone's on the front foot, and you need to give yourself time and space to counterpunch, it's really important that you take, small steps. If you look at really good counterpunchers like Terence Crawford, Kell Brook, those type of fighters, if you look at them, they don't do these massive jumps. So when the opponent comes in with a double jab or throws an overhand right or something, you notice they don't do these massive leaps back out of the way because it takes you out of punching range and you have to reset again. The clever fighters, the real counter punchers like Usyk, these guys make punches miss by inches. Press 1 if you're with me, press 2 if you disagree with me. Do you understand now? That's the real good counter punchers. The guys who can really fight under pressure. The guys who can really fight under fire. If you look at all of them, from Mayweather, Hopkins, Tony, all the way through to today's modern era fighters like Lomachenko's and all of these guys can make it happen at a matter of inches. Because to be able to counter punch, and to be able to fight these kind of aggressive opponents, you need to make the punches miss by inches, and you need to be balanced and ready to counter and throw at any given time. Anthony Joshua's not that type of fighter because he can't fight under pressure. So what does he do? The punches start coming his way. He takes massive leaps back towards the ropes. He's unbalanced. He's not in a position to counter. He gives up ground in the ring. Then he starts leaning back with his chin in the air. Please don't hit me. Leans back, chin up in the air, with his chin a massive target to hit. That's mental. That's mental. That's a stress reaction. I promise you. If you go down to the white collar gym tonight, you'll see the same thing in the white collar gym. You'll see me do the same thing. If you see me box with a puncher, I'll do the same thing. I'm shit as well. It's the same thing. It's a stress reaction. So that's it. That's Anthony Joshua's problem, all right, in boxing. It's him. It's what's between his ears. The man has anxiety. 100%. The man suffers from anxiety about himself. He's a guy who, before a fight, he'll be up in the bed, guarantee you. Before a big fight, he'll be up, he'll be up in a fight, and he'll be sitting there worried about what are people going to think of me if I get sparked out. That's what he does. That's what he does at night. I'm telling you right now, that's what he does at night, Anthony Joshua. He sleeps up in the bed at night before a fight, and he thinks, what's going to happen if I get sparked out tomorrow in front of all these people? What will these people think of me? That's what goes through his head. And that's what affects him. And that's why he behaves the way he behaves. That's the reason why, ever since he got beat the first time by Ruiz, what do you guys think? Am I right or wrong? Ever since, if you look at his behavior pre-Ruiz compared to his behavior post-Ruiz, it's like fucking chalk and cheese. Am I right and wrong? If you look at his behavior pre-Andy Ruiz, he was cool. He was a lot calmer. Obviously, he was faking it till he maked it, right? But if you look at him, he was very cool. He was very calm. He was big on respect to the opponent and all this. I don't do much. Do you not remember all this? I don't do much talking. I'll do my talking in the ring, and all that. He was very sort of cool and calm. After he got beat the first time by Andy Ruiz and a man that he beat, he fell apart. Am I right or am I wrong? 100%. It was never the same again. The way he behaved completely changed. The way he behaved completely changed. Started switching trainers, started searching for reasons, started blaming other people. The interview started to get more bizarre and more bizarre and more bizarre and more bizarre. And then we started to see stuff like this. Look at this crazy. I've got this meme. Look at this one. Look.
I think you were talking about the pandemic there. Have you changed, do you think, as a boxer or as a person during it?
100%. Like when I first started boxing, my whole world just flipped on its head. Like I had to really step my game up and adapt to this new environment. And then, so imagine I'm upside down now and the whole world's moving at 100 miles an hour. So it's a bit of a whirlwind. And then with a pandemic, the whole world flipped on its head, which gave me a chance to now look up again. So I flipped on my head when I first started boxing. Then during the pandemic, where the world's flipped on its head, it's allowed me to resurface again. And I feel like in life, you always need to reset sometimes and go back to what the true meaning of what you're doing is, why you're doing it, reset with who you are, what your values are. And the pandemic's helped me do all that.
Can you see my point? He's bizarre. He just gets the interviews with AJ just get more bizarre and more bizarre as the years have gone on. Am I right or wrong? Since Ruiz. The interviews have just, and the behavior has been more bizarre on top of more bizarre on top of more bizarre. And now we're at the point of Anthony Joshua where, unfortunately, it's rumored that he can't even step foot back in the UK again because of bizarre behavior outside of the ring. So this is a guy that's misguided. That's the reality of this guy. And this fight, this matchmaking, in my opinion, is bad matchmaking. Right, I'm going to go through your guys' comments. Get your guys all comments in. Obviously, I'm not going to ask you a stupid question like who do you think's going to win the fight. The fight is a legitimate fight. 8 3-minute rounds. Anthony Joshua needs to be 245 pounds. No more, which is absolutely fine. But like I said before, he has got 4 weeks to get to 245 pounds. Now, nobody can seem to answer me this question. What shape is Anthony Joshua in at the moment? Nobody's really seen him. He's been out in Dubai. There's rumors that he can't go back to the UK. There's rumors of big problems outside of the ring. No one seems to be taking that into account. What shape is he in mentally? What shape is he in physically? What do you guys think? For me, it's a lose-lose fight. Anything other than knocking out Jake Paul with the first punch of the first round, it for me is going to be seen as a loss for him. I just want to say something that's going to get me a lot of criticism, and I want to know what you guys think about this. I know a couple of you in the chat do box. So I know Mikey Thompson's here, Joe's here. I know quite a few of you do box in your spare time. And I want to ask you something, and this is something that you will only ever hear on this channel. You won't hear on other channels. Well, not all of it. You will hear it on some channels, but a lot of the mainstream channels, unfortunately, these guys don't actually box, right? Or put gloves on. So they're going to sit there and talk BS about resumes and shit. They got no idea what they're fucking talking about because, like I said before, they like to play gangster on the internet. But when it's time to go boxing gym on a Tuesday night, they never show up, yeah? So I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to hear pretty much anywhere else, right? If Jake Paul is clever in this fight, he will try to be as novice-y as possible. You guys who know boxing know exactly what I mean, yeah? If Jake Paul's a smart man, right, he will try to be as novice-y and unorthodox as possible in this fight. Don't try and be a boxer in this fight. Listen to me now when I tell you this. Styles make fights. I'm not saying Jake Paul's going to come close to winning this fight, but you need to understand something. Resumes never determine who is going to win a fight between two individuals. Styles and what happens on the night determines who's going to win a fight between two individuals. Jake Paul needs to go in there and not be a boxer. That's my opinion on this fight. He needs to go in there and not be a boxer. He needs to go in there and be as unorthodox as possible. Be awkward, be weird, throw punches from weird angles. If you've been in the gym, you've seen it before. You've seen it a million times, yeah? You've seen it a million times. We've all been in the gym, right? Press one if you're with me. This guy comes into the gym. He can't box a fucking lick. This guy can't box a lick. But because he can't box a lick, he's out there and he's just awkward. You guys, press one if you know what I'm talking about. You've seen these guys come in the gym. They can't box a lick. You're like, how the fuck are they let this guy in the gym? But they just throw punches from awkward angles. Their timing is fucking weird. I used to be in the gym with a guy, yeah, right? I used to be in the gym with this guy, right? And this guy, he's a lovely guy. He was fucking awful, right? He was awful. But you know what it was about this guy? This was like 10 years ago. The coach used to call him Jab Master. jab master. Do you know why? He only had one punch in his book, yeah? He only knew how to throw one punch in all of boxing. Jab. That's all he knew how to do, yeah? He couldn't throw a right hand. He couldn't throw a hook. He couldn't move his feet. He couldn't do shit. He was a lovely guy. He was just a normal civilian, yeah, who did boxing for the training. But you know what it was with him? He was close to 6 foot, and all he did was just throw the jab. Like, he just threw 100 jabs around. Do you know what I'm talking about? He just threw, like, the jab was poor form, but he just kept pumping the jab. Jab, 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 jab. I swear to God, man. The guy was what? It was like, you know, when you're playing like Ready to Rumble, yeah? Or Mike Tyson's Super Knockout on SNES, and you're just spamming the A button, or A. You're just sitting there spamming the A button. That's what this man used to do with a jab, you know? Used to spam 500 fucking jabs per round. So we used to call him Jab Master. Do you know how many fucking problems he caused people? He caused problems, man. He caused, in light sparring, right? He caused people problems. This shit happens, man. In gyms up and down the country. This shit does happen, bro. And like I said before, the resume merchants don't understand nothing about that because they've never been in the gym. All right? So all they're going to talk about, oh, look at AJ's resume. I'm just telling you. Jake Paul is actually a decent boxer, in my opinion. Obviously, he's nowhere near Anthony Joshua level, but for an influencer who took up the sport late, he's good for an influencer, right? For me, he needs to follow the KSI blueprint in this fight and just be unorthodox. What do you guys think about that? Like, don't try to box with a boxer. What do you think about that? Don't try and box with a boxer. So, like I said before, Jake Paul's best punch, yeah, is the overhand right. That's his best shot, yeah? Throw it from anywhere. Throw it from different angles. Throw it when he least expects it. Like, don't be afraid to make the fight messy. Don't be afraid to make the fight untidy. You haven't got to look like a boxer. This is what people don't understand about this fight. This is the first fight that Jake Paul's ever had. Like, he doesn't have to look like a boxer. Does that make sense what I'm saying? All of his fights before, he's been having to prove that he's a boxer. All the focus and all the pressure's been on Jake Paul. This guy needs to prove he's a boxer. He needs to prove he can box like a real boxer. He needs to show that he can hang with real boxers. The most ironic thing about this fight is he doesn't, and he shouldn't show any of that in this fight. Don't box with a boxer like AJ. Forget that, man. Don't box with a boxer like AJ. This is your time. Box like an influencer. Be unorthodox. Don't be afraid to fall in. Don't be afraid to trip over. Don't be afraid to fall in head first. Don't be afraid to be messy. Don't be afraid to look silly. Don't be afraid to miss a few punches. Does that make sense? Press 1 if you agree with me. Press 2 if you disagree. Don't be afraid to look stupid in this fight. All you've got to do, right, in this fight is land one punch on Anthony Joshua. If you land one punch on Anthony Joshua, then everybody will see you as a success. That's what you'll be known as. You'll be known as the guy from the Disney Channel who landed a punch on a former unified world champion. And people will give you credit, and everybody will still buy your pay-per-views, and your reputation won't be diminished, and you'll be able to go on and still draw millions and millions and millions for your next Netflix flights. That would be my advice to Jake Paul. Is actually don't try and play boxer with an amateur gold medalist, world champion boxer. Don't try and play boxer. Like I said before, KSI, I know you guys don't want to hear this because, you know, I'm not supposed to like influencer boxing. I don't like influencer boxing, but I'm telling you right now, KSI, one of the smartest boxers around, because the reason why he caused so many people problems is because he didn't box like a boxer. Don't box like a classically trained amateur boxer. Yeah, you want to go in there and you want to disturb AJ's rhythm. Does that make sense? Be awkward. Throw punches. Your timing needs to be awkward. You know, the angles need to be awkward, you know? So, like I said before, let's see. Right, let's get through to your comments, right? 10 more minutes. Let's get through to your comments. If you've missed this show live, don't worry. I'm hoping that we can get some people on time. This is why I'm doing this show now. I'm doing this show now so I can get all my thoughts off and ready, because I believe we're going to have some guests coming on to talk to you guys tonight or tomorrow, all right? So, because of that, I won't be doing much talking. You'll be hearing from professionals. Let's go through some comments. Shevin says, Jake needs to secure special rules, which I'm sure he has. No way he walks in there with normal rules and gets KO'd in 90 seconds. What? We've seen the rules. What rules? There are no rules. It's a fight. That's it. There are no special rules. It's a fight. The special rules are it's 8 3-minute rounds, and that's it. And AJ's got to be 245. Other than that, it's a fight. It's a real fight. There are no special rules. That's it. AJ's got 4 weeks. It's amazing me how many people don't get that AJ's got 4 weeks to get ready. Do you guys keep missing this? He's got 4 weeks. Literally. The fight is in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. 4 weeks and 3 days. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks and 3 days. AJ's got 30 days to get ready. That's the special rules. Do you guys not get that? Those are the special rules. The special rules are AJ doesn't have 6 weeks. He's got 30 days. Those are the special rules. Mark H says Ngannou caused Fury problems because that's another prime example of what I've been saying. Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. Fury's going to knock him out with the first punch of the fight. This fight's terrible for boxing. This fight's going to be over in 2 seconds. Ngannou's going to look terrible. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And look what happened. Fury got involved in a life and death contest with the guy and got knocked down and was hurt multiple times throughout the fight and looked uncomfortable all the way through the fight. Remember Fury and Ngannou? He was hurt. Fury was hurt all the way through that fight. It's about styles, isn't it? Let's have a look here. Go through some comments here. Paulie says that AJ was a great big man boxer, but his chin rivals Floyd Patterson and Ernie Shavers. This fight is no win for AJ unless he needs the money. Listen, I think AJ's chin is actually okay. I don't think he's got a terrible chin because if you look at the bombs that he took from Daniel Dubois and he withstood that for 5 rounds and he came back and he nearly closed out the fight. If you look at Vladimir Klitschko, he took an absolute nuclear bomb on his chin from Vladimir Klitschko, got up off the canvas and went on to stop him. So I don't think AJ has a poppadom chin. I don't think we're talking about like AJ has a case of Amir Khan chin. I think, Paulie, it's a case of AJ has a problem between his ears. Mentally, he doesn't like being hunted. He doesn't like being in a ring with an opponent who believes he can beat him. He doesn't like it. AJ likes to have his opponents mentally and physically beaten before they step in the ring, which is how it all went until the Usyk, until the Ruiz fight. That's how it was. These guys that were getting into the ring with him were mentally beaten and broken before they got into the ring, and that's how he liked it. When he had to start getting in the ring with people who genuinely believed they could KO him, yeah, Ruiz's, Povetkin's, Klitschko's, his behavior was always different. His behavior always. If you look at Anthony Joshua's behavior. Right? If you look at all of his pre-fight interviews and the way he conducts himself, right? If you look at the way he behaves with Dominic Brazil, if you look at the way he behaves with Gary Cornish, if you look at the way he behaves with fucking, those kind of fighters, to how he was when he boxed in the ring with Vladimir Klitschko, Alexander Povetkin, Dillian White, and Alexander Usyk. The behavior pre-fight is night and day. Because he's in the ring with somebody who he knows who's got no fear of him, and he doesn't like that. Michael Thompson says AJ loves fighting straight up and down boxers. Anything a bit out of the ordinary, like Ruiz or Usyk, and he's lost. You're right about Jake there. Jake's just got to be on. Like I said before, this is a unique fight. Jake Paul's not going to win this fight, right? So we're not going to have a discussion about who's going to win the fight. That's just retarded. Yeah, the conversation isn't about who's going to win. We know Anthony Joshua's going to win the fight. Yeah. It's just a case of how good is Jake Paul going to look? How bad will AJ look? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about who's going to win the fight. We know who's going to win the fight. JBO says AJ pumps weights to gain weights. If he hasn't been training, he might be a bit lighter than usual. Well, that's a good thing because he's got to be under 245. And I don't want to hear any excuses, by the way. If he looks bad in this fight, I don't want to hear any excuses from his fucking cheerleaders that he's somehow underweight or weight drained or some kind of bullshit or he's not his usual. So I don't hear any excuses from that. Let's have a look here. Blah, 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 blah about AJ. JBO agrees that AJ has been damaged goods since the first fight. Mikey Thompson says AJ's mentality is a bit like Wilder. Once he got beat, his confidence was dented massively and he was never the same. I don't think he was, to be honest with you. And it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see some more of the more recent comments here. If Jake Paul goes 2 rounds, it's embarrassing. If Jake Paul was to go 2 fucking rounds out of 8 with Anthony Joshua, 2 rounds. How do you guys think that would look? I think if Jake Paul goes 3 rounds, excuse me. I think if Jake Paul can do 1 3-minute round with Anthony Joshua, I think that is a huge win for Jake. Well, before we go, what do you think what is your barometer for a good result for Jake Paul? What is your barometer for a good result? For me, if Jake Paul can go 1 round with Anthony Joshua, what would you think then? If Jake Paul can do 1 3-minute round with Anthony Joshua at full pelt, what is it? 8? It's 8 or 10 ounce gloves. I can't remember. If he can go full pelt with Anthony Joshua and do 3 minutes, I think that's a huge win. Huge win. And I think, like I said before, it will damage AJ's career if that fight happens. So we'll have to wait and see. While you're getting your final comments in, one thing I also do want to confirm as well, which nobody's also talked about, is Eddie Hearn. What this fight confirms, right, is that Eddie Hearn is no longer really at the helm with Anthony Joshua. All right. Turki Al-Sheikh is now running the show with Anthony Joshua. All right. Turki Al-Sheikh is now Anthony Joshua's promoter in all but name. And Turki Al-Sheikh is deciding who's fighting who and who's doing what. And Eddie Hearn isn't really getting the information there. And that's just the reality of the situation. All right. And the same thing's probably gonna happen now with Tyson Fury as well. I don't think Eddie Hearn was in the loop about this fight fully, 100%. Right? I don't think he was fully involved in negotiations. I think Anthony Joshua and Turki Al-Sheikh have been handling business with MVP, and that's how I think that Mike Coppinger got the jump on everybody with this story. I do think Eddie Hearn pretty much knew the fight was a done deal for the last week, so I think he has been telling a few porcupines there. But for the most part, yeah. I do think, that Tony, by the way, I know you ain't got time, Tony, we're back on later on, but if you haven't heard from you for a while, Tony, if you do want to quickly pop on tonight or this afternoon, give me a shout, Tony, and I'll bring you on. If you want to pop on now this afternoon, because I would be interested to hear your thoughts. Like I said, guys, we will be doing multiple shows and getting people on. This is just my thoughts, all right? But let me just quickly say, Eddie Hearn is no longer really involved with Anthony Joshua in the same way that he was before. All right. It's okay. No problem, Tony. We'll see you later. Yeah. We will 100% fit timing for you. We'll work around you and we'll get you on. May even do a 1v1, Tony, actually. If you want to let me know when you are available, I don't know how you would do that because you don't give me any contact details, but if you do want to find a way, to let me know when you are, I'm happy to do a show and you can go through it. All right. I don't think Eddie Hearn is in the mix here. That's my opinion. I think Eddie Hearn is a bit out of the loop. That's my opinion. Eddie Hearn is a little bit out of the loop here, and that really Anthony Joshua's career is being driven now by Turki Al-Sheikh. And like I said before, as somebody said in the chat, they are now strong arming the Tyson Fury fight. That's where they want this to go, isn't it? Yeah. Press 1 if you agree. Press 2 if you disagree. So this is what Turki Al-Sheikh will be doing in the background now, because what Turki Al-Sheikh's doing is he's basically going past these promotional agreements. So Tyson Fury, I think, might have a promotional agreement with Queensberry. He might not. Anthony Joshua, certainly we know, has a promotional agreement with Matchroom. But because Turki Al-Sheikh basically has all these guys under the thumb, right? The promotional deals don't really matter. What's going on here is Turki Al-Sheikh is contacting Anthony Joshua directly and making fights, regardless of whether Eddie Hearn's involved or not. And he'll be doing the same with Tyson Fury, regardless of whether Frank Warren is involved or not. Right. And the same thing will probably be happening with Hamza Shiraz and everything. So it's an interesting time in boxing involving power plays. Yeah. I think Turki Al-Sheikh, like I said before, and I said this was always going to happen. All these promotional agreements mean nothing. If Turki Al-Sheikh wants a fighter, he's going to ring the fighter and call the fighter direct and organize a fight. And there is absolutely nothing that Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn can do about it other than, toe the line. Yeah, press 1 if you agree with me. Press 2. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what I said to Ryan. I said to Ryan this would happen about six months ago on a show me and Ryan did. I said, that's the next stage now what's going to happen. All these little UK promotional agreements, are going to become irrelevant to some degree, especially with the bigger names like the Shirazes, the Furies, the Wilders and all that stuff. Because all that's going to happen is Turki Al-Sheikh doesn't give a shit about promotional agreements. Turki Al-Sheikh picks up the phone and he gets on FaceTime. And he says, Tyson, I want you to fight Anthony Joshua. I'm going to offer you X amount of money. And there's nothing that anybody can do about that. So that's what I think is going on. I think Frank Warren's is out of the loop a little bit. And I think Eddie Hearn's out of the loop. I think this is all Turki Al-Sheikh. And like I said before, the fight, quickly, I'll say this, the fight that they've always wanted, right? And I've said this, and it's important that you guys understand this, right? And before we go, let me just say this before we go. Riyadh season is about one thing and one thing only. And this is what you guys need to understand, right? You need to understand the grand scheme of things. Riyadh season has always been about Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Press 7 if you agree. Usyk has been a thorn in their side from the get. I've said this a million fucking times. Nobody gives a shit about Alexander Usyk. I'm sorry. They don't give a fuck. Good boxer, nobody cares. Usyk has been a thorn in the side of Riyadh season. The whole point and the whole thing that they've been trying to do for the last 4 or 5 years is Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury for a shit ton of money in Riyadh. That's what they want. That's what they've been trying to do. Usyk has been fucking up the plan for everybody. They want those belts off. Usyk's fucking up the plan now because he's refusing to let go of the belts. Usyk has been a thorn in the side of Riyadh season. What everybody wants and has wanted from the get-go is Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. That is the fight that's been wanted from the get-go, and that is what it will always be about. Does that make sense? It's very, very simple. From the day that this started happening, from the day that we started having Riyadh season and all this stuff, it's only been about 2 fights. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, which they still want to do till this day, by the way, which tells you everything they need to know. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Those are the 2 fights they've wanted. Unfortunately, like I've said before, they've faced banana skin after banana skin. Wilder jumped in the ring with Zhilei Zhang and got himself sparked out. Wilder jumped in the ring with Joseph Parker and got himself sparked out. All right. Anthony Joshua had to fight Alexander Usyk twice and got beat. Anthony Joshua got involved in a fight with Daniel Dubois and got himself sparked out. Tyson Fury had to get the belts off Usyk and got beat twice. There's just been banana skin after banana skin after banana skin. But the goal has always been the same. The fight that they want, the fight that they're trying to make, the fight that they've always been trying to align is Fury versus AJ. Press 7 if you agree on that. That's what they want. That's where all the roads are leading to. That's what they want. They're not in this. They're not in the business of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. Does that make sense? Like, Turki Al-Sheikh isn't in the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul business. Turki Al-Sheikh isn't in the Fury versus Usyk business. Turki Al-Sheikh isn't in the Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker business. Do you guys understand that? He's not in that business. Turki Al-Sheikh isn't staying up late at night, right? Fucking planning Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. He don't give a fuck about Joseph Parker. He doesn't give a fuck about Joseph Parker. Yeah? All roads lead towards how can we engineer Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua for some form of world title on the line? How can we manufacture Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder for some form of title on the line? They're not fucking stupid. Those were the 2 fights, the 2 biggest fights in boxing. AJ versus Wilder's pretty much dead now, but those were the 2 biggest fights in boxing that would make the biggest money. This is what they wanted. Usyk was nothing but a thorn in the side. They've been trying to get them belts off him for fucking years, but he won't let them go. So that's what I'm telling you right now. All right. That's what Turkey's in the business for. All right. And that's what Turkey is going to deliver by hook or by crook. He doesn't give a fuck about promoters. He doesn't give a fuck about, oh, well, AJ's got a lifetime contract with Matchroom. I better make sure that I don't upset Eddie Hearn. Oh, Tyson Fury's got an agreement with Frank Warren. I better make sure that I don't upset Frank Warren. Turki Al-Sheikh don't give a fuck about that. Turki Al-Sheikh picks up the phone on FaceTime and calls Tyson Fury and says, hey, listen, what are you doing? I want you to fight Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury will say, okay, I can do that, but I want a tune-up fight first. You've got to pay me X amount of money. And that's what will be happening. And that's what will be happening now with Anthony Joshua. Turki Al-Sheikh phoned up Anthony Joshua and said, listen, I need you in the ring versus Tyson Fury. Okay? AJ will be like, look, I haven't boxed in a fucking year. All right. Okay. Listen, we'll do Jake Paul. Easy fight. $100 million fight. Make a shit ton of money. Spark him out in 2 rounds. Then you're fighting Fury. This is all being done behind the scenes, guys. Final comments from you guys and then we'll go because it's been an hour. But that's what's happening behind. Don't be fooled by any of this. Don't think that Riyadh season is some kind of organic, the best just fight the best type thing. It's all geared towards engineering these 2 fights involving these fighters. That's what it's geared to because that's where the money is. There's no money in Joe Parker. There's no money in Martin Piccoli. There's no money in any of these guys. They've been losing money hand over fist from day one. Look at these fights. You think Riyadh season are making money off Fabio Wardy and David Adelaide? Of course not. We're fucking losing money. Do you think Riyadh season are making money off fucking Mark Chamberlain versus Gavin Gwynn? They're fucking losing money. But they hope to make it back with some big fights. All right. What they need now is Tyson Fury to lose some weight. They need Anthony Joshua to sort his head out. And then it's Usyk to lose them fucking belts or give them up. Shevin says all they ever wanted was Fury versus AJ and AJ versus Wilder, but those 3 kept losing and Usyk beat the piss out of them 2 already. I agree. John Trowson says as long as they still get their cut, I wouldn't think Frank or Eddie care about Turkey going direct to the fighters. BJF says Ultra, do you think AJ could make a run for the Misfits a heavyweight world championship? I think Anthony Joshua, honest to God, I'm telling you now, yeah, you're going to see. I just don't see how this is going to end up being good matchmaking. I really don't. But we'll wait and see. I think, listen, let me say this in closing and then we'll call it a day for now. Please hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. I think I'm planning to try and be back in a couple of hours to do an evening show. And I'm hoping to have some form of guests on. All right. So we're going to try and do it. We'll see what happens. All right. Listen, I will say this, right? Anthony Joshua doesn't know what he's doing or what the fuck is going on right now. I mean, like I said before, it will dawn on people in a run up to the fight. This is what will happen. For the next 3 weeks, all you're going to hear is AJ is going to smoke him. AJ is going to destroy him, this and that. I guarantee you the week of the fight, it will start dawning on people, fuck, this is actually really stinky matchmaking. I guarantee it always happens on fight week. When it dawns on people, as we get closer to the event, what they're actually paying for and what they're actually watching, yeah? It's going to dawn on people, you know what, fuck me, this is a stinky event. And actually, this really doesn't do much for Anthony Joshua's career at all. I mean, how do you go from Jake Paul to a fight with Tyson Fury? It's bizarre to me, isn't it? But it is what it is. Hit and Hit says, what's going on with your footy channel? DOA, dead on arrival. Just like Anthony Joshua's career at the minute. Right, guys. Take care of yourselves and each other. Peace out.